Hey, Chris Skinner. So rather than type up this long story, I just figured I'd take a minute and just tell it to you straight up. So I just wanted you to hear, like, just straight from my mouth, how in the midst of one of the hardest days and one of the hardest seasons, God is still showing, I'm here, I'm with you. He doesn't always solve all the problems, but He says, I'll walk through them with them, with you through them. So I shared that whole story I just wrote you in the email. I shared tonight all this stuff about Henry Nouwen, these three different devotions, three different paragraphs, and so I've listed those out for you. But I was able to totally wrap that around a missions message, and it was just cool. It really. I stand back now as I'm typing that, thinking, "Wow." I mean, I didn't plan that like my cleverness. It just kind of came together, because I ain't got much cleverness. But anyway, so I wanted to tell you a story that happened after, and one last encouragement. So after I finished, I shared, and it went really good. I think it was well received, and I finished with a Jonathan David Hessler song to minister to them. And then two guys came up after I finished to close out that portion of the meeting. One of the guys starts telling the story, and he was telling the story about what in the message really hit him. And he was talking about several things that really impacted him. And he says, but I think the one thing that hit me the most was this idea of community. And so I'm like sitting back in my chair thinking, wow, this is really cool. Because, I mean, community is my heart, and it's been the journey that we've been on. Of course, the power of community and what God does in the midst of it. Well, anyways, he's telling this story, and he was telling about today at lunch. He was sitting down with his wife, and his wife was saying that she had this burden for a girl that was in her class, her Sunday school class at church. Now, granted, we go to a church that's about 1,500 people to 2,000. Um, and then everybody in that room represented a lot of different churches. So I had no idea what even church he went to. But he started talking about she was a third grade teacher and started talking about this girl that they had the burden for. So this is at lunch, and the wife is telling the man that's actually sharing that night. And he says, that the wife was saying she had a burden for this kid that was in her Sunday school class that was new, wasn't even sure where she was going to live, and was struggling with not having friends, all that stuff. And of course, he was talking about Madison, which I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" It's just unreal because I mean, it was a big town and it's a big church, and yeah. Anyway, so, but he was saying, in the midst of it, he didn't even know. Um, I was speaking tonight. He didn't know who was speaking, and then when I started to share, he did not connect the dots at all. But the lady that said this was just saying the Clark family. And then I get up and I show our family. Well, the story gets even cooler because um, he's telling this whole group, probably 70 people or whatever that are there, or maybe 40, 50. I can't remember exactly how many were there, but it was a big group of people. And he's telling, it says community is so powerful because his wife, and then he goes on to tell about Meg, the impact she had on his daughter, which is this girl that was in our youth group. It was wild back then. Um, but he was saying now she's turned back to the Lord, and it's because, in large part, to the ministry that Meg did in her life. So it's just cool to see the way, I mean, this is a pretty profound thing, and the way that God did that. So I just came home. I couldn't wait to get home to tell Meg this story. Um, so we get home. I get home and I tell Meg the story and all that stuff. Well, Shannon is now, you remember Shannon, our friend? She's gone to Montana, so she's there where Tara is. Her and Tara got together tonight and got a bunch of words for us and prayed for us, and then Skyped us. So after we told Meg all that stuff, um, yeah, they call, and there's a lot of other stuff. So none of the problems are solved, but man, God is showing us clearly, I'm still with you. So I wanted to just send this and just let you know, Chris Skinner, that in the midst of challenges and looming despair, God's shining through and saying, I'm here, I am here, I am here. So just wanted you to see that and know that. Bye.